So my show and tell for the week is on the bottom there is our, I say our, a 3-turn potentiometer. That's not zooming very, probably because my finger is there. So that's our a potentiometer, 3-turn potentiometer, and on the top is a combination of a gear plus, a 3D printed shaft that snugly fits on. If you heard that pop, snugly fits on the shaft with the D-shaped item on that. So both Christian and I got to that point at the same time. Interestingly enough, he's using Fusion 360 as well. So, that's what I have been relearning. They rebranded that from, I think it was 123 Design now to Fusion 360, and so it's been a campaign to print that. So again, that was the notion is that will be driven by the actual gear that's attached to the steering motor, and then we'll give you position data. So we can replicate that for whomever wants that.
So the next piece is that bracket that sensor goes on?
Right. And I don't have the tractor here, so you would have, if you took some pictures, we could start, doing the rough sketch of what that might look like. But yeah, there would be then a bracket that is screwed down there and then comes down to whatever platform is available, and we get the alignment correct for the screw holes. That I think you mentioned there are screw holes in the deck that are available.
Yeah, I just used the ones that were pre-existing.
So that's a step forward. For me, I was getting whining noise, Jeff, from my motor controller and my DC motor steering motor, and I was using the ABT-2 motor controller, so I had ordered the same motor controller that Matt is using. Hopefully that'll arrive today, and see if it has less noise than, so that way I'll have the exact same configuration Matt does from a Teen Z driving I forget who made the motor controller, Matt.
Citron.
So on the Teen Z, can you change the PWM frequency?
Pass. I haven't figured that out yet. I could do it on the Arduino that I was using, and I tried multiple frequencies, but couldn't get the noise to go away.
On the Arduino, you can crank that up to about 20 kHz or so, and then you won't hear it. But you might have to use a different. I assume what they're doing is changing the prescaler on that timer, so it's a matter of looking in the Atmel spec and finding out, how to select a clock and how to set the prescalers. And on the Teensy, I don't know. I don't know if you can get around it on that. And it could be that somebody has, if you go look, they might have an alternate PWM instead of the direct Arduino one. So you might be able to find something to replace it with. And it should do a high enough frequency that you won't have noise coming out of it.
Yeah, that's great input. Instead of fixing it, I was going to just follow the path of Matt on motor controller. So if then it still has noise, then we'll have to do exactly what you suggested.
Well, I think the answer to that is when the engine's running, you can't hear it anyway. That's probably what that comes down to. And if the engine's not running, then oh, you forgot to turn the electronics off because it's squealing at you.
So in your experience, then that's over time, that squealing doesn't actually have any material impact on the the long-term longevity of the components?
I wouldn't think so. I think the inductance of the motor just filters that out and uses whatever you give it. And I know that like the default Arduino PWM is like 400 hertz or something ridiculously small, and that's why you needed to go in and add those extra instructions to speed up the frequency on that.
Because it was certainly unscientific, but my recollection was, the stall PWM setting was different based on the frequency. I mean, stated another way, and I don't remember the exact sequence, but if I lowered it or raised it, it was easier or harder for me to stall the motor at the same PWM setting.
I think that has to do with the fact the inductance of the motor is smoothing out those pulses. So if the pulses are faster or closer together, it's probably going to filter out to be a higher current. Effective current is what you're getting. So, but I don't think it may affect it slightly functionally, but I think when you start running it, as Matt said, you have plenty of power with that motor. So I don't think it's going to be I don't think it'll be an issue either way. It's just that it's annoying to have to listen to that motor squealing.
But well, and I don't. That's cool though that you're saying it, at least in your experience, it's you're not deteriorating the say the long-term survivability of the motor.
Yeah, as far as I know, it doesn't affect physically doesn't affect the motor.
So the hell with the sound. I'm going to stick with my motor controller. The heck with yours, Matt.
You can try it. The other thing is use a real analog out on the teensy and try that.
I'm going to do exactly what you're doing. So if you think I should follow a different path, you tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to follow your path.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, there is safety in numbers.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd say first of all, use whatever works, and then if you decide later, you can always modify it to do something else.
Hey, Colin. Hey, Soen. Soen, you're on.
Hey. How are you guys?
Good, thanks. We were just doing a little show and tell.
Nice.
The quick recap is we have a 3D design for a gear to put on our a potentiometer if you want to use what others are using, and Jeff had some LEDs that he was going to have dancing lights on his.
That's fancy. Having a tractor with fancy lights on it. Super cool. I don't have anything to show. I'm working with ESP32. Nothing to show here. $10 board. Still trying to get the hang of it. This $10 board has a 1,000-page manual. So. But yeah.
On the pull up the milestone spreadsheet. So at the moment we haven't Matt and I spent a little bit of time, again, this is the milestone plan that's in the Lawntractor folder. Matt and I spent a little bit of time talking about this Ross navigation stack using GPS waypoints. I gave him some waypoints for one of the fields at my place in Texas. And so he was gracious enough to say he was going to spend some time on trying to figure out how to do path planning using those GPS waypoints.
You want to see the tech demo of that?
Absolutely. While you're working on that, let me just walk through these others just so folks know where we're at. So for me personally, I'm trying to do this desk check of the motor and the motor driver. And so for me, these are in progress. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, and I have not started. I mean, I've ordered the odometry wheel speed sensor, but I haven't spent any time on that. And we'll do the twist commands, I would say, a little bit after we get that one done. From a bill of material, I think you may have heard this, but there is a U-joint that connects the motor to the steel shaft, the steering shaft, and we have found a provider for that, actually two providers, epowersteering.com, and it's a 16.5 millimeter to 3/4 inch smooth coupler. So we've got a provider on that. That's a key piece. I'd say that's the only. Oh, and then also we found a nice mounting bracket for the electric power steering motor that gives a nice flat surface in order to mount that. So again, on the physical side, a couple of things that will make life a little bit easier over the long haul. Questions on any of that?
Do you have that motor mount custom designed, or is that something you found that just happened to work?
It's definitely custom built. I didn't have it custom built. These guys at ePower Steering must have found a fabricator that did that for them. On the electric, hold on, let me share my screen again. The shaft in the motor that would connect to the actual steering wheel comes up through this curved space, and on those motors there's a bracket that would fit under the dash, and that goes here, and then the flat surface that this thing is sitting on becomes a really nice flat surface you could do multiple things with in order to get that to be installed. But you can even see in this picture, right, this is obviously fabricated to there, by somebody with those skills.
Okay.
Matt?
So we're playing around a little bit with Stage as the simulator for the Lawntractor. Stage is just a 2D or 2.5D, so it will show height. If you have a camera or a laser, it can pick up obstacles, but it's a pretty lightweight simulator, a lot less resource intensive than Gazebo. But one of the things that Stage doesn't do is it doesn't give us GPS coordinates. So if we want to record the waypoints and play back the waypoints, we need UTM and lat long information. So I've been working a little bit on that. I posted the Rosscheck site, so hopefully you'll be able to open up that link, and then this has the navigation stack, so you can click this button up on the top, the 2D nav goal, and then select a position and orientation of where you want your robot to drive, and then it will plan the path and then control your vehicle to that spot. And then you can see over here we're getting lat long information. So these are just projected off of the origin from Al's farm. So here, once we have the topic of the GPS coordinates, we can record the waypoints wherever we want to record those points, and then play those GPS points back to the move goal in the navigation stack, and then your robot will drive to that location.
And then setting that up initially, Matt, can you just talk about what was involved, if anything, to sort of set your frame, if that's the right language, to be in that neighborhood of GPS waypoints? I mean, how big is that field that you have on the screen? Is another
Yeah.
way.
So this isn't the exact model of your field. I haven't made it that far yet. But it's a pretty simple script that's up here in the scripts folder. And it takes a seed of original lat long, which is right here. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. So this is actually the origin point of one of the corners of your field. And then, so the next part is to put a relative size, get your field that square inside of there, and then we can practice doing area coverage inside of that field. But basically you give it a seed place, and then it takes in the pose position from stage, the X and the Y, and then converts that to a global projection. And then I publish that under fake GPS topic, and then also convert it to UTM, so we can use UTM, and then created a fake UTM. And this file is up, and all of these files are up on that ROS-ject.
Say that again. They're up on the ROS what?
They're both in the G drive, and then also in this ROS-ject link that I posted in the chat.
I saw that chat come through. And that's Ricardo's RDS thing, right?
Yep. This is the free version where you can test your code out and then share links. Or you can install it locally. It is on the Google Drive. I haven't pushed it out to the GitHub site yet, but pretty close to doing that. Maybe once the waypoint and the joystick are installed.
When I just started that, it popped up with a link that says there's a webinar on the 29th on how to teach autonomous mobile robots. So I don't know if they're trying to do the same thing here with the. When I click on it, it wants me to sign up. It's not going to actually tell me what it is.
Oh, yeah, I think you may have to log in to be able to pull that up.
Well, I did log in, but it wants to. I think it's actually trying to register me is what it's going to do. It's not going to.
Yeah, just close the link and click on this link on the chat window again, and it's gonna open.
Yeah, my thing opened. It's just that when I try to get more information on that webinar, it's not going to. It doesn't give me more information. It just wants me to subscribe. So I assume this is going to be one of those that'll show up on YouTube later, so we can go look at it anyway after the fact. But I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's not letting me register, by the way.
The goal with that is to get an actual working demo and then be able to share it to other people so they can use it without having to install everything on their local machine. That's the goal. I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah, do you know happen to know? And so there's no gazebo in what you've put up there, right? It's all stage.
Stage, yep.
Because the last time we ran into the whole gazebo 7 versus 9 and couldn't get RDS to actually work. Anyway, that's cool. That definitely looks like progress. Yeah, I'm still clicking around. I can't seem to get the register thing to fire up.
So did I give you the wrong link?
I think the way that the link operates is trying to confirm, because I have an account, trying to confirm whether it copied. Well, let me share my screen just so you can see what I see. So I clicked the link and it brought up my RDS account, and I think this is the project you just created, right?
Yep, that's it.
And so it is in my, it copied into my project list. If I mean, it says plus gazebo 9 there, so I'm not sure where that came from. Are you seeing my screen by chance?
Yep. And when you first fire this up, it takes a little while to start the virtual servers and everything. That's what I think it's the time delay there is. But
This is all the farther I can get. It's just sitting here forever. So we'll see. I'll just let it run and see whatever comes up. But I do have the project. It put it in my workspace, so apparently if it gets around to it, it'll eventually fire up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do the same as Jeff. I'll let it run there and tell you if it fires or not, because it's spinning on my side as well. I just got the first screen check.
So this is what mine's doing. If that's showing up. So it just
You're
sits
right.
It takes some time.
Okay. Oh, there it's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like it will actually work.
I probably should include like a like Sam's uses that Jupyter notebook on how to launch that.
Yeah, on launch, this showed up with a Jupyter notebook of how to use it. So
I don't think I understood. Sam uses the cheaper notebook.
Oh no, his instructions. I didn't put the instructions on how to launch the simulator.
yeah, on my screen, Jupyter notebook popped up, but it's on how to use the simulator, basically, or how to use this.
So, and that's the Jupyter notebook that you got when clicking on Matt's link?
Yes. After this project loaded, this one popped up and it says, this is your simulation notebook. You can use this to add notes about your simulation or even code to interact with your robot. Interesting.
The launch file is in that launch directory, but I could put a link to that. I was curious if it would come up, like if you ran it's ROS launch, TEB tutorial, car-like simulation, if it would open for you.
So mine came up. Hold on. So you want ROS launch?
Space TEB underscore tutorial.
Can you share your screen while you're doing that?
Oh, of course. So you can see how poor my typing skills are. So is that correct, Matt?
Yep, and then you can do tab to autocomplete. Yep.
Cannot launch node of type TEB tutorial.
Okay, and then under tools, open up the graphical tools.
Got something
Okay.
on.
Yeah, stage is running underneath it. So I've got an error in that launch file, but if you go to File and then Open Config, and then under User, Catkin Workspace, Source, TEB, RViz, and then Tractor Viz. I need to link that file. It's not finding that file when it loads up. But then on the top, you can see the 2D nav goal. You can click that. And then click a spot.
Oh,
And then the robot will try to drive there.
Are you guys hearing that sound? It sounds like there's a motor running.
It's kind of a whiny sound. You might want to get a different motor control.
You know, I'm here for comic relief. You guys do all the heavy lifting. I'm just here for the comic relief. Very cool.
But now we have those steps documented because I'm looking at mine. I have no idea what to do with it, but now I can go back through that and type those in and click those things, and hopefully it'll do the same thing.
It's supposed to find that configuration file in RViz, so I've got a problem with that launch file, but we can work on that.
And just for your cursor control, you might know this. I'm holding down my scroll wheel and dragging left, and it centered there. And then 2D nav, see if it'll come back behind the wall. Got there. I don't know why it didn't get closer to the wall and come in, but we'll work that out. And so, I mean, the point here and the point up here, you're not sure what points those would be from a GPS standpoint.
So on the bottom left-hand corner, that's the origin. So the GPS coordinate would be it's the GPS coordinate in your field
that you showed us earlier in the
yes
in the editor.
Yep. But this shape will be elongated to show your field, and it's a little bit of a trapezoid, I think, and then we can put the gate in there. So this is kind of like free planning. It's going to try to search and find its way there. When we send it a list of waypoints, it'll drive exactly where we want it. I mean, it has to match where the robot can physically drive, the turn radius and control parameters.
That's very cool. And editing putting in this wall as an example, or putting in that wall or as an example, did you do that? I mean, do you know how to add obstacles to the frame, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, you can do it dynamically, or if you want to edit the map, you can use just GIMP and edit the PGM file.
I mean, just to give you guys a sense of what we're actually looking at here. It's that field. And Google took a picture at a time when I was running up and down that field. So Matt, it would be cool just to, have the fence outline and then the opening in the fence. That'd be cool.
Yep. We can get Sam's help on the area coverage for your field.
Yeah, just have to, I'm a big believer in writing down these steps so we can replicate them, or somebody like Colin or I can follow in your footsteps. Okay, guys, what else? Anything else on your mind?
Yeah, I don't know about this video is being recorded and we're going to publish it online. And I think your home address might be published online. So might want to be cautious about that. Google was showing a thing on there with your home address on it. So just wanted to warn you on that.
No, thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's probably just a problem if the bill collectors come looking for you.
Yeah, I would be more worried about the IRS. Colin, what's going on in your world? Matt, anything else on your mind?
It's good. I don't know if you want to look at the LED lights.
It's imperative.
It's pretty cool.
It looks like Jeff's got some more survey grade antennas behind him there too.
Those are the two from Swift Nav there. So that's the original pair that we got. And it turns out that somebody lost the adapter that goes in here, so it's a what is it, a 5/8 inch bolt, and then it's supposed to have a 1/4 inch threaded hole in it. If somebody lost one of those, so I'm gonna have to make one to replace that one, and then for my new one that came in, I don't have one, so I'll have to make a new. I'll make a couple of those adapters to that way you can bolt it onto a tripod or whatever you want. It's just one more thing that has to be done. And I don't have my bright LEDs here. I bought some that said they're 1 watt and 3 watt LEDs, and they're pretty darn bright. So I ordered some resistors for current limiting on those. So when all that stuff shows up, I'll have. So in addition to my little status LEDs, there'll be like turn signals, and I've got some even bigger ones for headlights that I can put on my vehicle. So I'm gonna have lots of lights on it. And if we run out of things to talk about, we could go offline, and then Al could ask Soen about about the secrets.
About his time in Pittsburgh.
Oh, sure.